Welcome to the Motivated Martial Arts Podcast. Your hosts, Jackson White and Gavin Cook, have been friends and Taekwondo training partners for over 40 years. This podcast will bring you a mixture of their life stories, martial arts, and business experiences to motivate you in life and throughout your martial arts journey. Adding in a mixture of inspiring interviews and some of the best traditional martial artists around today. So over to your hosts, the Motivated Martial Artists.
Welcome to the Motivated Martial Artists Podcast with me, Gavin Cook.
And me, Jackson White.
And today we've got Matt Chapman in the studio. Matt is the founder of MittMaster.com, and we've got him in and we're going to ask him about all things martial arts and business. So over to you, Jackie. I'm going to hand you over the first question. First of all, how are you doing, Matt? Sorry.
I'm very good, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm having a chilled out day.
Good.
Very good.
Well, I'm going to pass you over to Jackson, who's got the first question lined up for you.
Cool, great.
Hi, Matt. Great to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
So we're going to start off really, just want a bit of an understanding about you as an individual and a bit of an insight into your early life and your childhood, etc.
You're going to do some therapy on me, boys, are you? Get into my brain. Lay down on this couch. Well, I started martial arts when I was 10 years old, starting with ninjutsu. That was about the only martial art I could find in my local area, weirdly. This was kind of during the ninjutsu boom when it was massive in the 80s. Yeah. So I started with that. I did that for about a decade. And then I had a bit of a run-in with a brown belt in karate at a sparring sort of session we'd organized. And this brown belt proceeded to slap me around the mat. And I was a bit upset with how my ninjutsu held out against this brown belt. So then I started searching for sort of more functional martial arts that could work in a sparring context, which led me into kickboxing, which I did for a few years, then into Muay Thai and JKD with my instructor, Anton St James. Since then, I've just been traveling, training, mixing different martial arts together. I competed in MMA for a short while to sort of test out my skills, see where I was at.
How did you get on?
Yeah, I did all right in MMA. I had 7 fights, 7 wins, so that's kind of cool.
Okay, cool.
And then I blew up my knee in training once, and that was it. I couldn't fight after that because every time I tried to train hard, my knee would swell up again, and that would be it. So I kind of stopped competing at that point and then started focusing more on building my school and everything else that came after that. Okay.
Where do you run your schools then, Matt?
Well, I actually sold my school a year and a half ago, but I did have a school in Essex, in a place called Loughton in Essex, and it was a good school. It was very successful. We had around 350 to 400 members, depending on time of year, so it was going quite well. But I kind of got a bit burnt out with running the school, with teaching all the time, with dealing with problems, admin, staff, and all of that. And eventually I just decided I needed to move on to something else. So I sold the school to my business partner.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult running schools and also finding that time to train yourself, isn't it? I know that's certainly in the position that I'm in. I mean, I'm a full-time instructor. And like I say, having that time to actually train yourself and to keep yourself in shape it can be quite demanding, can't it, when you've got...
Yeah, well, I think what happens with us martial arts instructors is we love martial arts and training so much that we want to do that all the time, right? Yeah. And then we think the best way to do that is to set up a school, but it's actually not the best way to do that, because once you start setting up a school and it starts getting successful, you then shift from becoming sort of like a martial art instructor into a manager of a facility.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you're managing people all the time, you're managing problems, you're dealing with this and that. So instead of training all day, you're running around fighting fires all day, or having meetings, or doing stuff that you probably don't want to be doing. So I got to that point where I'd done it for about 18 years, and I just thought, right, I need to get back into things like training and meeting up with my friends and traveling and doing what I love. So yeah, I sold my school and moved on to doing it all online.
Yeah, wow. So when was that then, Matt? What sort of what year did you start your Mitt Master?
Oh, I started Mitt Master about 6 years ago. Okay. But it built up over the 6 years to the point where it brought in enough money that I could say to myself, like, oh, I can actually do this full time now. Yeah. And I don't necessarily have to have a school anymore with all the headaches that go with a school and stuff. So I just sold up and moved fully onto the online, which is a bit of a scary step, because just if you're used to turning up to classes and teaching classes, and then suddenly you're letting all of that go, it's really scary because you're not sure if the online's going to keep going as well as it has been. But it's been fantastic, and now I get to travel and teach seminars around the UK, which is fun, and train and teach and have fun again.
So what led you to start the online Mitt Master piece then?
I was looking for new ideas for drills in classes, and I was all over YouTube because only YouTube really existed then. Facebook wasn't really the place to find that sort of stuff. And I just couldn't find what I was looking for. I couldn't find enough pad drills and things like that to add to my classes that I wanted. So I thought, maybe I should just make some on my own and share them on YouTube for other instructors to see if I could help them out. And that's what I did. I started sharing a few on YouTube, got a few views, and then started creating online programs, which I tried to sell from YouTube and Facebook and various other places. I didn't make any sales for a whole year, so nothing for a whole year, which would be enough for most people to go, no, that's enough, I'll stop. It's not working. Yeah. But I'm persistent, probably through martial arts and all of that. Yeah. So I just kept plugging away, and I sold my first product a year after I started for £7.99. Yay!
But again, it's having that resilience, isn't it? It's having that resilience through martial arts and moving from martial arts into a business environment.
Yeah.
Business environments, no matter whatever business you're in, it can be tough, and you get lots of knockbacks. And I think if you're not resilient enough, it's just too easy to give in. But I know me and Jackie we're always looking for different business ideas, and we dip our toes into different business ventures and stuff together. Sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it to, and you think, God, this is hard work. But then in the back of my mind, I say, good, Jackie, it's good. It's good that it's hard work, because that means other people would be dropping out now where we're carrying on.
Oh, absolutely. That's really, really important. Yeah, because most people don't have a high tolerance for pain. No. Whether it be emotional pain or physical pain. But obviously, as martial artists, we develop our tolerance for sort of pain and suffering and moving forward regardless of it. So in business, it still applies. Spending a year creating content, videos, putting stuff out there, sharing it, trying to get people excited about it and not to have anything come back. For most people would be enough, and that's it. They quit. But of course, that's what I didn't do. And now it's grown into a big business with like students worldwide, and it's going crazy. So
that's awesome.
Okay. So what, as Gavin said, within business, I do a lot of business outside of the martial arts. Yeah. And, it's like a roller coaster. You have your high days, you have your low days, and hopefully most of the days are in the middle, but, you get the ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
What kept you going during that first year, first 18 months where you weren't getting results that you were looking for? What kept driving you forward?
I think there's something wrong with my brain.
Too many shots. You're taking too many shots. You're not keeping your guard up.
The brain's not working properly. I don't know. I've always had this mentality of I'm not going to lose and I'm not going to quit, and I've had that since I was a kid. So I don't know if it came from martial arts or it was kind of naturally inbred in me, but no, I just keep moving forward. And if you naturally have it, it's quite difficult for me to understand people who don't have it. I speak to a lot of people in business and martial arts instructors who are affected by external things that happen, like they don't make any sales, or a student who they've invested 10 years in quits, or one of their instructors steals, quits and takes half their class, and it really it knocks them really, really hard. Whereas I'm like, no, just head down, power forward, and just make it right. So I struggle with that with people. I try and motivate people and get them to see that, it's nothing final. It's not fatal. You're going to recover. You're going to move forward. You've got to stay positive and keep attacking it. But I know a lot of people struggle with that sort of area, keeping positive and keeping going.
Yes, it's an interesting phenomenon, because I know lots of extremely motivated people where their mental resilience is second to none.
Yeah.
When you're in that group of people, it seems to gain more mass. And
that's right.
You become more, I would almost say, pig-headed, and you believe in yourself more, and that grows and grows and grows. To such an extent, when you're engaging with people that haven't got that, it's almost hard to fathom why they haven't got it. But I think it's something that you can actually coach into people. But it's like an air conditioning unit, isn't it? You slowly turn it on a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and people get used to that environment. So
right.
It's a little bit of conditioning, but I think at the start, you've got to have a little bit yourself as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously it's easy for people who have it naturally, and any skill, mental skill or physical skill, can be taught and developed, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it's just always come naturally. If I'm passionate about something, I'll just keep moving forward. However, if I'm not passionate about something, I tend to give it up pretty quick. So I kind of get that sort of thing, you know. I've always been passionate about martial arts. I've always loved it. I've always wanted to do it pretty much all my time. I don't have many other passions other than sort of martial arts training, business, marketing, that type of thing. So it's kind of inbuilt in me, I think, a little bit.
Yeah. I've got just out of interest, Matt, do you listen to audiobooks?
Yes, a lot.
Yeah, and do you not think it just amazing? I mean, we talk about this all the time, but I know I probably got into audiobooks about 3 years ago. And I have to say, it's the one influencing factor for me that has really made a difference to how I think about, you know, things like marketing, and how I think about business, and how my mindset has changed just through listening to audio. And I harp on to my students a lot about it. But again, I know me and Jackie, we bang our heads against a brick wall sometimes, trying to get people to, you know, listen to this audio book about this. And they're like, yeah, when I get around to it. And they say, have you listened to it? No, not yet. And I'm like, look, no, just listen to it, absorb it. And it can, you know, I know it sounds dramatic, but it can change your life.
It can do. I mean, here's the thing. I went to a seminar years ago with a guy called Brian Tracy, who's one of the best marketing guys in the world. And he said something that has stuck with me throughout life. And it's kind of negative, but it's kind of positive. He said, people don't change. They only become more like they are. Okay. And if you actually think about that, and things we try to do, trying to help people and change people in our lives, it's very hard to get someone to change. They are who they are, and they only become more like who they are. So I just generally, and that's quite empowering, I think, because then you don't waste time or effort trying to change someone when, you know, they are who they are and they're just going to become more like who they are. I tend to only focus on people who are similar to me, who share a similar worldview, who, you know, are quite motivated and driven. Of course, I try and help other people who are not, but I'm not expecting them really to change, because people are who they are and they don't change. And once I heard that from Brian Tracy, I was like, oh yeah, because we can spend months, years, a lifetime trying to change people because it's for, you know, for their benefit, but they may not want to or be able to.
Yeah, most definitely. So just going back to the Mitt Master program, can you just talk for our audience that have no idea what it is or have not seen it online, can you just give us a summary of what it is, please, Matt?
So it's kind of like a series of video instructionals, certifications, online syllabuses that anyone who does a striking system, so i.e. boxing, Muay Thai, karate, Kung Fu, Sanda, anyone who sort of strikes pads can use in their classes. So they can like download individual videos, they can download collections of videos, they can access online syllabuses if they want to, so they can use syllabuses in their classes, they can get certifications. It's like a giant shop for strikers who want training and drills and ideas.
Okay, is that just purely hands, or is it hands and feet, elbows?
Oh no, it's hands and feet. It's hands, feet, headbutts. I've added in some Filipino stuff. So it's headbutts and kicks to the groin and all of that sort of stuff. There's MMA pad work as well for those guys who do MMA. It's just basically everything I've learned over the last 30 years of training 8 or 9 different martial arts sort of combined into one system. So it's pretty cool. There's lots of people who seem to benefit from it and find it very positive. And I think part of the reason is, like, as instructors, we kind of get caught in cycles and patterns. Yeah. So unless we really structure our classes, we tend to rock up to class, teach off the top of our head. And what happens is we only have a limited sort of number of drills and ideas that we run through it. And we're not even aware of it, but we're kind of teaching the same sort of stuff over and over and over. Problem with that is it's really boring for our students, and they kind of accept that. And it's really boring for us as the instructor, because we're not getting fresh content, new ideas, new ways of looking at things, exciting new drills. So what I did is I created the Mitt Master system to give people that help, with new ideas, new drills, new ways of presenting the same information in a different way, disguise repetition for their classes, things like that. And it's worked out really well.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched a few of your videos, and I think there was one particularly one I was watching the other day, and it's like I say, he's bringing in elbows and knees and evades, and just in one drill. And you start off quite slowly, don't you? You start off slowly with just maybe, is it level 1, then you move it to level 2, level 3. So the actual drill builds up slowly, so it's easy for instructors to understand it, so they can then teach it to their students.
Exactly, yeah, it's progressive. I see a lot of pad work like online, and it's what they basically do is putting a little sexy show reel together of the coolest moves all together in one ridiculous combination that lasts for 20 minutes, right? We've all seen it. What I like to do is just start with basic technique and concept, and then build it and build it and build it, and then you can use the different levels for different classes, different students. Yeah, it works pretty well, so I'm quite happy with it.
I suppose it keeps the class nice and fresh as well, doesn't it?
That's kind of the most important thing, because as instructors, we know one of the most important things is disguised repetition, right? Yeah. It's teaching the core fundamental techniques, but not in the same way, because modern people are not like they were 50 years ago, where they'll maybe rep out something 10,000 times to get really, really good at it. They need a little bit more variety in how you teach it to them, and different ways of showing them, and different applications and different ways, but still just repping the basics, repping the basics, repping the basics. So disguised repetition is a big thing, I think. Makes a big difference, and it leads to better retention in your schools, because the students don't get bored.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Absolutely, and kids, especially youngsters these days, they get bored so quickly, don't they? In a world where instant gratification is just everywhere.
Yes, of course.
If they're not mentally stimulated all the time, and they just start losing interest, don't they? So it's just like you say. I mean, we talked about on an earlier podcast. When we started Taekwondo, we used to just drill the same repetition over and over. Yeah, and that's the way it was. Where if you did that in your classes now,
you will never class.
No, because people are like, well, I'm not doing low section block, or I'm not going to do this one block for half an hour. They want small bite-sized chunks of fun, almost, don't they, and stuff that's going to stimulate them.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to the instructor, isn't it? I know a lot of hardcore old school instructors who are like, no, I'm going to do it the old way because it's the best way. And it probably is the best way, as in terms of just repping fundamentals over and over and over and over. It's going to go in. But they typically have schools of like 10, 15, 25 members, right? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's the way you want to do it. But if you want to make it your sort of living in your life, it's very difficult to live off the income you'd make off 25 students. So sadly, there may be a little bit of a compromise needed in terms of how you present the information in order to maximize the student retention. But it's a personal call for all instructors, isn't it? It is,
but, I think that, for any martial arts instructor today, just because we did things one way and it was the best way 50 years ago, or it was the best way at the time.
Yeah, true.
With sports science and being able to analyze things much better now, it might not necessarily be the right way or the best way to do it today. So you've got to modernize.
Yes.
I think programs like the Mitt Master program can help instructors, bring another repertoire of skills to their teaching.
Absolutely, yeah. Like the old school stretching routines I used to do, are just like dangerous.
Kids, like when instructors used to bring your feet together so your legs are apart, and your instructor used to put his hands on your shoulders and just stand on your legs.
Jump on it.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that.
So obviously that sort of stuff needs to go away because it's just not safe. But you need to move with the times. And part of the reason why I started to go online is because it's moving with the times. Because I realized that if you have a physical school, there's a few restrictions. There's restrictions in terms of how many people you can fit in the school at any one time. Of course. There's restrictions in how much you can physically teach. And there's restrictions on the number of hours in the day, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
So eventually what will happen is you'll fill up your classes and you're like, oh, right, so I have to open another class and then another class, and then you'll run out of space. So you'll have to get a bigger unit or a bigger hall, and then that creates more work, more expense. Or you'll burn yourself out trying to teach every single class you can. So your energy will deplete deplete, and you'll also fall out of love with martial arts, which is dangerous. Or you'll just run out of hours in the day. You literally won't have enough time to teach. And the problem is then you get martial arts instructors teaching all the time, which affects their personal relationships, their marriages, time with the kids and all of that. Yeah. So I saw that coming, and I was like, because I was doing a lot of privates every day. I was doing, 20 hours of privates a week, plus teaching classes, plus doing the admin, plus doing the management, plus doing the marketing. So a lot of time and commitment. I wasn't at home much. I wasn't spending time with the kids enough. So I thought, how can I basically clone myself so that there can be multiples of me teaching at the same time? And what most instructors do is they obviously train staff to do that. Yeah. But your staff aren't clones of you because they do things differently. They do weird things randomly that you wouldn't expect. And you have to manage them and keep an eye on them, right? Yeah. So I thought, okay, the easiest way for me to clone myself is to make digital copies of myself. And then those digital copies can be anywhere in the world teaching what I want them to teach. And they teach it exactly as I want them to teach it because they're digital copies. So then I started creating the content, building it up. And after about 5 years, the online business brought in enough money so that I could have kept my school if I wanted to, but I just wanted to go commit and just go for it and see what happened. And I'm glad I did. That's not to say though, and a lot of people say this about me. They say, "Well, you always bang on about the online. You should also keep a real school." 100%, I agree. But 99% of instructors, they should have a physical school, but they should also consider having an online school because the online school can run independent of them. There's very low cost to run it, and you can have students all over the world because. The problem with having a physical school is if you're in a small town of, say, 30,000 people, that's your entire market you can ever teach. And to be honest, half of those are not interested in martial arts. Half of those are the wrong age. Half of those are already doing some other sport.
It's very limited, isn't it?
It's very, very limited. So in the end, you might only have 600 people you can teach at any one time, but they're all not going to be ready at the same time. And that's limited your business just to that size. So with the online, your market is infinite. People I've got students in Japan, Argentina, Australia, America, Iceland, all studying the Mitt Master system, and it's totally limitless. So that's why I decided to do it. But I understand for most instructors, it's better for them to have a physical school and also an online sort of school where they can give their syllabus to their students and possibly offer other courses to people who might be interested in around the world.
Yeah. Of course. And I think it's important for instructors to be constantly trying to educate themselves and keep with the times because, things move so fastly these days. And I think if you're not ahead of the curve, then unfortunately you're going to get left behind. I'm certainly a big advocate of leveraging as much as I can. Involve me doing the things that I like to do. I enjoy teaching my club. I enjoy seeing the students progress. I enjoy that side of it, and I hope that enjoyment continues for a long time to come. But like you said, the things I don't enjoy are the admin and the marketing and things. I outsource all of those now. I outsource. I have administrators that help me. I've got virtual assistants that can help out. So cool. We've got that leverage side of it.
And so what we've spent a lot of time doing recently is digitizing all of our processes. So everything is automated. Actually, as an instructor, all you have to do is turn up and teach, which ultimately is what you want to do. Like you say, most martial arts instructors don't get into it for the admin and all the other.
Definitely not.
So digitizing the business, automating it is one way you can relieve that burden to free up your time to do the thing that you actually love.
And also podcasting. Also, your students are already on YouTube looking for extra training. They're already doing it. So why would we just allow our students to go to YouTube and study random stuff when we could create online content specifically for our students? Really good for them. Most definitely relevant. That's taught in the way you want it taught. That has the details that you want to cover. It's a no-brainer for me. And it's very easy to do nowadays to set up an online course for your own school. Super simple. You just use a simple platform. You upload your videos. Then you can give access to your students. And you can give access for free if you want. Or you could set a low monthly charge if you wanted, say $5.99 a month. And that's extra recurring income that's coming in for your school, which you could then reinvest. or use for whatever you like. So people do need to move with the times and start getting this sorted as soon as possible. And that's what I'm trying to constantly speak to instructors about is, come on guys, the whole world is going online and you're not.
Well, the whole world's going digital.
Yeah.
We use the phrase, the world's going digital.
Yeah.
So whether it's administration, your lessons, your marketing, if you can digitize it, then I think that's really the way forward.
But I think what most instructors are scared of is if they create like an online course for their students or an online syllabus, then the students won't turn up. And I'm like, no, it doesn't happen like that.
I've created maybe 10 videos that I do to my students. So when a brand new student starts with me, I've created content on a 30-minute video that tells the student exactly what they need to do, move by move, to pass their next grading.
Brilliant.
And it's a free video. And I said, look, just watch it. It tells you everything you need to learn. So they still come to class every week and they still learn it, but it's just
it supports their training, doesn't it? Which leads to retention, which leads to more people grading, which leads to a stronger, healthier business.
Exactly. And what I'm excited about is when holograms come in. So then all of a sudden you have a hologram projection in your front room that's actually showing you in 3D.
You laugh, but that's going to happen because it's going to go AI, then VR, then holograms. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. See, I think, for sure. I mean, AI is already doing everything. I mean, it's doing so much stuff. I mean, when you get your Google Maps out and, it's telling you which, where you've been and where you need to go. And it's all these things are all AI, aren't they? It's working in the background on so much stuff now. I'd say augmented reality as well. I mean, you can use your phone, so you get to a point where you're pointing your video at a field, and there's the instructor doing the pattern for you, and you can just copy it. There's so much potential, but again, it comes down to that. You've got to be trying to be ahead of the curve all the time, which you obviously are in what you're doing.
Yeah, but I think a lot of instructors are very fearful of technology, full stop. And they're fearful that it will cannibalize their own school. But I don't think it works like that. All of this online stuff is to support your school, to support your processes. And like I've had instructors set up online courses with me just so they could create a beginner's introduction to their style, which they could then send to beginners as an extra marketing bonus, So sign up to our school and you get access to our introduction to their martial arts style. And it's got, videos about the history, videos about tying their belt, videos about where to go, like all of these things, basic stretching, basic conditioning, how to wrap your hands, all the basic stuff that we have to teach over and over and over again, which maybe is a little bit boring about our work is, how to wrap your hands. And you can put all of that online and just give it to all your new members for free. And that's the beginning. And then you can start putting syllabuses online and you can start creating sparring programs online. You can start creating stretching routines online. You can film your seminars and put them online. It's a massive opportunity that lots of instructors are missing.
Yeah,
no, most definitely. So going on from your Mitt Master program, what have you got lined up next or thinking about in the future then, Matt?
For Mitt Master or other stuff?
Bit of both, other stuff.
Yeah. Well, for other stuff, I'm trying to help all these other instructors kind of get with the times. So if you see any of my Facebook posts, I'm constantly like encouraging them and trying to motivate them and help them with this because I do worry about martial arts instructors. I've got quite a few instructors who are, 60 plus, and they don't have any savings. They don't have a pension. So what that means is they're going to have to keep teaching until they die, which is probably what we want to happen, right? But, it would be nice to have the choice, right? When you're 75 and your back's hurting and you don't necessarily want to go down to the gym and teach. But what I'm trying to do is encourage them to put all this amazing 50 years worth of experience into an online product, and then they can just bring in a little recurring income, over time, build it up over a bit of time, maybe bring in an extra 500 quid a month, £1,000 a month. But when you're 70, if you're bringing in an extra £1,000 a month, it's probably, you're not going to need much more,
Yeah. And it's passive as well, isn't it?
It's passive, yeah.
We're all looking for that passive income, and like I said, there's a lot of the gurus out there make it sound too easy, you see all these.
Oh, no, it's not easy. Of course not. No.
No, but I mean, you probably follow people like Gary Vaynerchuk and you know, sort of people. And like you say, you know, I mean, he's brutal, isn't he? But you know, it's absolutely true. You know,
yes.
But there are so many gurus out there do make it sound too easy. And I think it's teaching people the right way to be able to do it, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. They're just trying to make money off you, aren't you? To buy their platinum program, etc., right?
yeah. £5,000.
Yeah, so that's how they're doing it. But like Gary Vee, for example, he's honest. He says, like, you know, when you get home from work at 9 o'clock, and this is what I did. I got home from teaching at the gym about 9:30 usually, quickly wolfed down some food, and then worked on my online business from sort of 9:45 until 1 a.m. most days for about 4 years before it started kicking off properly. And I worked weekends and I did what was necessary to do it. So it's not like, it's not get rich quick. You do have to put in the work. I just want to help my instructors and other instructors get to that point where, you know, if you have to go in and teach, even though you love teaching, you don't really have a choice. You know, you're not free. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's like, you have to do it. And it's just nice to have the option, like, no, I'm not tonight. I'm not going to go down and do it. I've got other things, you know, you can get staff members in to cover it. Or at some point, you can just teach people around the world possibly, and then free up your time totally. So you don't have to be at a certain place at a certain time. It gives you much more freedom being able to do this. But I understand for most people, it's like terrifying and scary. Maybe for the older generation, the 20-year-olds who are coming through are a little bit more like, ooh, that sounds interesting. I wonder if I could do that as well.
Because that's the methods that they've been using all their lives.
Yes, they're familiar with social media.
They're still young and they want to enjoy themselves rather than spending hours creating content, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. So I just want to help instructors in any way I can, because it's a wonderful thing that we do as martial arts instructors. We help people. We build their confidence, we transform their lives, we get them fit, you know, we teach them essential self-defense skills, we get their head straight, we act as a therapist. I mean, we do so much, right?
Yeah.
Sure. I just want instructors to be rewarded for that properly, because I don't feel like a lot of them are. Like when I speak to older martial arts instructors, a lot of them are a little bit bitter, like they've invested so much time and energy and love into people who have, you know, quit or betrayed them or let them down.
University, somewhere else, most definitely.
And they kind of get angry and bitter, and I don't want them to have that. If they only had some sort of online thing going at the same time, they could just make money off that and have students around the world and build a legacy of their content online. Because the other thing is, like, when you get older, you know, if you have been teaching for 50 years and you die, all of that knowledge that you've developed is just going to disappear. You will have students, but students will take it their own direction. It won't be yours anymore. It'll be theirs, as it should be, and they will take it their own direction. The only way to accurately preserve what you have developed over your 50 years of training is to record it online. That's it. Yeah. Because then, you know, it will stay forever. It's a legacy of your learning, your teaching, your development, your struggles, your passion for the last 50 years in many online products. So I think instructors should do that as well.
Absolutely. Where are those Betamax tapes that we've got somewhere?
I've also got old VHSs of like instructors teaching stuff. So it's cool. I mean, imagine
I was always a Betamax man, Matt.
Oh, right. Oh. Imagine if Bruce Lee had recorded every day of his training, every day of his, you know, imagine how much value that would have for people nowadays. I mean,
that's phenomenal, wouldn't it?
But it'd
be phenomenal, wouldn't it? I mean, and also think about this. It would be something that his family could continue to make money from after his death, and the same for us. Like, if, God forbid, I was hit by a bus today, my family can still continue to sell my online products, and they probably go up in value, right, because I'm dead. They could continue to sell it for, 2, 3, 5, possibly 10 years before it become outdated. And that's kind of reassuring to me. Otherwise, if I run a school by myself and I get hit by a bus, well, then they're screwed.
It stops, doesn't it? No, you're right.
Yeah, it stops.
So Matt, what do you do outside of doing the Mitt Master? What other activities do you take time out to do?
I don't.
Audiobooks.
So I'm a bit special, is the word. if I'm passionate about something, I don't need time off from it. So I'm passionate about martial arts. I'm passionate about business and marketing because I think it helps people. So I literally don't do anything else other than spend time with my family. It's all I want to do all the time. I don't get tired. I don't burn out. I just love it so much that it just feeds me energy continuously because it's really creative. So yeah, I don't do anything else.
Fantastic. It certainly sounds like you're certainly come across as being very, very passionate, Matt.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was lucky. I speak to a lot of people and they haven't found their passion yet, right? Like a lot of people who are kind of trudging through life just haven't found the thing that they love with all their heart. And I was lucky at 10 years old, I found martial arts, and it's been with me for my whole life and will be for the rest of my life. Yeah.
It's so sad, isn't it, that so many people out there haven't found their passion,
and some never will.
No, because I mean, we're very lucky that we've all got in martial arts, and we're all instructors, of some degree, and we enjoy what we're doing. Where some people are stuck in jobs and they can't seem to get out of it. They can't seem to find the answers.
Yeah, it's very difficult. The thing is, they probably haven't tried enough stuff. Because I have friends who are like, "Oh, it's all right for you, Matt. You love martial arts. You've always loved martial arts." Yeah, true. And then I say to them, "Well, what about come and try this, do that?" And they're all like, "No, it'll never work. No, that kind of people don't change. They just become more like they are. They don't change." So you can only take them so far, can't you? You can only open the door. If they don't walk through, as the saying goes, it's not your fault. So some people just don't try out enough stuff. They need to be trying. Cookery, trying book writing, trying martial arts, trying rugby, until they find the thing that fires them up. Music, you just got to keep trying until you find the thing that lights your fire.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, it's like I say, it's been a real insight, Matt. And like I say, what we'll do, we'll make sure we get all some of your content up on the Facebook group. I know you're in the Facebook group anyway, aren't you?
Yeah.
Me content on there. Is there anything we can maybe offer the listeners possibly?
I've got lots of free courses on my website. If they go to mittmaster.com, they can download a couple of free courses on there and check out. There's a free course that's got about half an hour's worth of my best pad rules on it, so they can have a look for their classes. But if they want to send me a message as well, I can do my little sweet deal for you boys.
Ah, you're a good man. They're fantastic. Like I say, it's always nice to try and offer as much content as we can to the people that are, that take the time to listen to the podcast and enjoy it. Of course,
yeah.
But it's all about just putting yourself out your comfort zone a little bit, isn't it? I mean, we started this podcast. I had to laugh the other day because I saw you putting that podcast course up. Who was the guy that we did the course with, Jackson? I remember now. Pat Flynn.
Pat Flynn, oh yeah, he's really good.
Pat Flynn, well, we downloaded his podcast course and just went through it and just followed the steps. Yeah. And next thing we're up and running and we're doing it. And
it's good, isn't it?
We're thoroughly enjoying it, really. I think we're enjoying it more than we thought we would do.
Yes.
And the response has been really, really good. So hopefully long may it continue.
Indeed. How many episodes have you had so far?
This episode we just published today, episode 16.
Nice.
It was Mark Strange.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, but we've got probably another 8 or 9 already recorded.
Ready to release. So we had a bit of a crazy month in September. We wanted to do a super September.
Yeah.
To really get out some of the female martial artists out there. Fighters, some inspirational ladies, really, which worked really well.
Cool. So you need to keep going to at least 100 episodes is the general rule.
It is, yeah. Well, we've got our 100th episode lined up, actually.
Oh, cool.
50th episode lined up, which is good.
We figured what we're going to try to do, again, this is putting ourselves totally out of our comfort zone again, which is, what it's all about, but we sort of committed to our 50th episode being a live episode.
Oh, yeah, like that.
So we're going to, we're going to get a studio and we're going to get some guests in there. And we're going to try and do a proper live podcast with a live audience.
Yes, nice. That would be well scary.
Exactly. But it's all about challenging. I'm a big advocate that if you feel sick when you're about to do something, you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Totally agree with that.
Right then, Matt. I think we're running out of time. We're almost up. So thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it.
No, it's been great having a chat, man. Really good.
Thank you very much, guys. Pleasure.
Thanks, Matt. Take care, mate.
Bye for now.
Cheers. Bye.
I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode of the Motivated Martial Artist podcast. Don't forget to check out our Facebook page and our Facebook group, the Motivated Martial Artist podcast.
And don't forget also the Motivated Martial Artist Instagram page.
So head along for some extra content, interviews and much more.
So until next week, it's bye from Jackson
and Gavin,
the Motivated Martial Artists.